The rain was coming down hard, turning the film set into something out of a dream, or maybe a nightmare. You were standing under a flimsy shelter, watching as the crew adjusted the cameras and lights. Your heart was pounding in your chest, nerves buzzing as you tried to focus on what the director was saying, but it was hard to concentrate, especially with Taeyang standing just a few feet away, casually talking to the crew like nothing was out of the ordinary. It wasn't supposed to be like this. This was just another job, another role, but it wasn't. Not when Taeyang was involved. He wasn't just another co-star. He was your high school love, the one you had let go of years ago to chase your career. Back then you thought you were doing the right thing, that breaking up with him was the only way to focus on your dreams, but as you watched him now, laughing with the crew, you couldn't help but to feel a deep ache in your chest. You had heard how Taeyang threw himself into acting after you broke up, how he became one of the biggest stars in the industry. It was like he was trying to prove a point that you could succeed and still hold on to love, but you had left convinced that you had to choose between him and your career. And now here you were, about to film a kiss scene in the pouring rain, with the same boy you had once loved more than anything. Your thoughts were interrupted when the director clapped, gaining everyone's attention. Wyan and Taeyang, are you guys ready? He called Taeyang to take his position. You felt a familiar knot tighten in your stomach. Even though you were halfway through filming the movie, each scene with him was a reminder of the choices you had made and the one you could never undo. You tried to focus on the script, on the character you were supposed to be, but it was impossible to ignore the wave of guilt that washed over you every time your eyes met his. Taeyang walked onto the set with that calm, composed look he always carried, but there was something in his expression that only you could see, a flicker of the pain you had caused. He was a living reminder of what you had left behind, the person you had sacrificed in your pursuit of dreams. The director was giving some last-minute instructions before the scene started. Alright, let's get this right. This is the climax of the film. You have both been through so much. This kiss has to be full of passion, of everything you have been holding back. Got it? You nodded while your throat felt dry. Taeyang's eyes met yours, and for a moment it felt like the world had stopped spinning. The look in his eyes was intense, unreadable, and it made your stomach twist in knots. Did he hate you? Did he resent you for what happened? Or had he moved on, leaving you as just a distant memory? As the rain continued to pour, you couldn't help but to wonder why you had agreed to this film. Was it some strange need to see him again? To torture yourself with what could have been? Or maybe deep down you had hoped that this film would give you both the closure you needed, a second chance. The director's voice cut through your thoughts. Places, everyone. Let's make this perfect. An action. You stepped into the rain, the cold water instantly soaked through your clothes. Taeyang was already there waiting for you, his expressions focused yet guarded. Your character's lines came out on autopilot, but it was the tension between you and Taeyang that made the scene feel real, almost too real. The memories of your past played out in your mind as the dialogues flowed between you, the unsaid words and unresolved emotions hanging in the air like a dark cloud. The scene was like you have to confront him, the love of your life, who had left you behind and who you had never stopped loving. Why did you leave? Your voice trembled as you delivered your lines, water streaming down your face. The script had called for you to sound desperate, but you didn't need to act. The desperation was real, born from the echo of your own regret. Taeyang's character Ji-hoon stared at you while his expressions were a mixture of sorrow and anger. I left because you told me to. You said you needed space, time to focus on your dreams, so I gave you that. But I didn't ask you to disappear. You cried, stepping closer to him, the emotions spilling over. I needed you, but you vanished like I meant nothing to you. How could you just walk away like that? Ji-hoon's face contorted with frustration. Because you never let me in. You pushed me away every time I tried to be there for you. You chose your career over us, over me and I. The script called for you to interrupt him, but the words came out more sharply than you intended. I was scared, Jihoon, scared that I would lose everything if I didn't focus. I thought if I let myself love you, really love you, it would all fall apart. There was a pause, the rain filling the silence between you, heavy and oppressive. Taeyang's eyes searched yours, the intensity of his gaze making your heart skip a beat. This wasn't just acting anymore. The lines between fiction and reality had blurred, and you both knew. Do you even realize what you did to me? I spent years trying to prove to you that I could be everything you needed. I became an actor because of you, because I wanted to show you that you didn't have to choose, but you never gave me that chance. The director frowned, glancing at the script supervisor, who shrugged, equally puzzled. This wasn't how the scene was supposed to go, but the rawness of the exchange was captivating, and he decided to let it play out. You stepped closer to Taeyang, your eyes searching his. I was scared. I didn't know how to love you and chase my dreams at the same time. The line was supposed to be about your character's fear of losing her career, but the way you said it felt personal, almost like a confession. The crew exchanged looks, unsure if this was still acting or if something real was happening between you two. The tension was visible, the rain only adding to the atmosphere. Taeyang's hand reached out, brushing a wet strand of hair from your face. You didn't have to choose. I would have been there no matter what. The script had called for a different line, something about his character being patient, but this felt more real. The director exchanged bewildered glances with the crew. What's going on? He muttered under his breath. This wasn't in the script, but the emotion on the screen was undeniable. He hesitated, caught between the need to stick to the script and the undeniable chemistry playing out before him. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every unscripted words, every raw emotion. You were both too deep in the moment to notice the crew's confusion, too lost in the feelings that had been buried for years. I never stopped loving you, but when you walked away from me, you have no idea how abandoned I felt. Your breath hitched and your heart ached with the weight of his words. This was the part where your character, overwhelmed with guilt and love, was supposed to kiss him, to show that she was ready to give in, to trust him. But as you stepped closer, preparing for the kiss, you hesitated. It wasn't just a kiss in the script. It was a moment of truth for you, a chance to confront the feelings you had buried for so long. Jihoon, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He didn't respond, but his eyes softened, the anger giving way to something else, something that looked dangerously close to forgiveness. And then, before you could overthink it, you reached up, cupping his face in your hands, and kissed him. The kiss was supposed to be passionate, desperate, a culmination of all the tension that had been building throughout the film. But what happened in that moment was something beyond acting. The feel of Taeyang's lips against yours was too familiar, too real, and you could taste the rain and the salt of unshed tears as you kissed him with everything you had. His arms wrapped around you, pulling you closer, and you could feel the way his body tensed, like he was fighting some internal battle. It was a kiss that said everything you had never been able to put into words. The regret, the love, the longing. It wasn't just for the cameras, it was for you and him, for all the years lost between you. When the director called cut, you didn't pull away immediately. You stayed there wrapped in his arms, trying to catch your breath, your heart pounding wildly. Taeyang was just as shaken. His hand stayed on your waist, his forehead rested against yours for a brief stolen moment. But then reality crashed back in, and Taeyang let you go, stepping back with a distant look in his eyes. He didn't say anything as he walked off the set, leaving you standing in the rain, more confused and conflicted than ever. Staff came and gave you an umbrella before walking you to the makeshift tent, but now your mind was filled with the thoughts of what was going on in Taeyang's mind when he kissed you. It felt more than just a scene. Before moving on to the next scene, the director decided to take a short break because what happened at the set was a while ago. It confused everyone. The way you both went out of the script and acted like you weren't shooting for a film but expressing your raw emotions. You also looked lost, so it was better to take a break. After changing out of your wet clothes, you found yourself wandering to the edge of the hotel's pool, staring at the still water. It was late and the set was quiet, the crew having taken a break. You couldn't stop replaying the scene in your head, the way Taeyang looked at you, the words he said that weren't part of the script. I became an actor because of you. Did he really mean that? Had he chosen this life to prove something to you? The thoughts swirled in your mind, creating a storm of confusion and guilt. You had broken up with him all those years ago because you thought it was the right thing to do for both of you, but had it really been, or had you just pushed away the person who had always believed in you? You sighed, hugging your arms around yourself, trying to make sense of everything. The reflection of the pool lights danced on the water, but it didn't bring you any clarity. The truth was, you still loved him. You never stopped. You always overthink everything. The voice startled you, but you knew it was him before you even turned around. Taeyang was standing a few feet away, hand in his pockets, his eyes fixed on you with that same intense gaze from earlier. You swallowed, unsure of what to say. I didn't hear you coming. He shrugged, taking a few steps closer. You seemed lost in thoughts. You turned back to the pool, not being able to look in his eyes. I've been trying to figure out what you meant earlier, about becoming an actor because of me. There was a long pause before he answered, his voice low. I thought it was obvious. When you left, I didn't know what to do with myself. You were everything to me, but you walked away like it was easy. So I decided to show you that loving someone doesn't have to mean giving up on your dreams. I wanted to prove to you that we could have it all. His words hit you like a ton of bricks. All this time you had thought he hated you for leaving, but instead he had been trying to prove his love in the only way he knew how. Taeyang, I didn't know. Of course you didn't. There was a hint of bitterness in his tone. You were so focused on your career that you didn't see how much I was hurting, but I never stopped loving you, not for a second. You turned to face him, surprised. Your heart ached hearing that even after all that he still loved you. You couldn't hold back your tears. I thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't want to hold you back. I was scared that if I let myself love you, I would lose everything I had worked for. And did you? Did you lose everything? He asked, stepping closer to you. There was anger and disappointment in his voice. You shook your head while tears streamed down your face. No, but I lost you. And that's the one thing I regret more than anything. His expression softened, and for the first time you saw the vulnerability in his eyes. He gently cupped your face and made you look at him. You didn't lose me. I have always been here, waiting for you to realize that we were never supposed to be apart. His touch was warm, comforting, and it brought back a flood of memories. How safe you used to feel with him, how much you had loved him. You looked up at him with tears in your eyes. I'm so sorry, Taeyang. I was so blind. I didn't see how much you loved me, how much I loved you. He pulled you in his arms, holding you tightly as if he was afraid you might disappear again. It's not too late. We can still have everything we dreamed of. I love you more than ever. You buried your face in his chest, feeling the tears finally fall. I love you too. I never stopped, and I'm so sorry. The two of you stood there, hugging each other tightly as if time had stopped. The tension, the guilt, all of it melted away. Finally, you both felt a deep sense of relief. All the misunderstandings, all the years of hurt and longing started to disappear. You realized that you had found your way back to each other. When you finally pulled back, you looked up at him and smiled softly. So, what do we do now? Taeyang smiled back at you, a real, genuine smile that made your heart skip a beat. We start over together. He nodded, feeling warmth and happiness inside you that you hadn't felt in years. Together. He leaned down and pressed a soft kiss to your forehead, a promise of the future you would build together. And for the first time in a long time, you felt like everything was going to be okay.